Hey YouTube, we're up underneath of a Polaris 570 Sportsman doing the Quad Logic battery relocation unit. A couple things I wanted to point out that weren't in the video. First thing is you really didn't see in the video how where they ran the wires. As you can see, I'm running the wires from the back of the four-wheeler forward through this little bracket here, down and underneath behind this bar, and hooking into the mount bracket that comes with it. Now, one thing I ran into is this wire here comes from the starter, comes into this junction. And we'll get in close. You can see there was not room for that single terminal there that comes, like I said, from the starter to go on to the peg because of the way that these plastic ears are. So I didn't have any problem with the hot. You see I got everything on with one nut, but on this bottom I've had to add, as you can see, I've added two nuts. I've put my two ground wires on, one that's coming from the battery, that's part of the kit, the other that was ground for the four-wheeler. This is coming from the starter, and it's really tough to move because there's not a whole lot of extra line. So what I've done here is I went and got two new 1032 nuts. I've put on two of them, which allowed me to put this on. And as you can see, I still got a gap between the plastic and the ear. And then I just tapped it off here and went ahead and put another nut on to tighten it down. I'm assuming that's going to work. I hope it does. One other thing that I found on the mount, when you mount this container here, if you push on it just a little bit, it's dinging into the mount here. So I added two washers here that goes between the bracket and the container, the coolant container. You can see one there. It gave me just enough space. To now, whenever I mount everything together, I can push on the coolant container there, and it doesn't touch the main bracket anywhere here. After you do that, you run it through, and the rest is just like the rest of the video. But that is something I ran into. Pull back a little bit. You can see my hot and my ground both running through the bracket here, and then turning down and going around. Give it some protection. And like I said, if you run into a problem where your wire from the starter does not want to get into it's hitting because of these ears not making constant contact, like I said, I just added another 10/32 nut here, put it on, and then tied it on with another one just to clamp it down. This project took me northwards of 2 hours to complete. Quad Logic has a 4-minute video. It's going to take you a whole lot longer than 4 minutes to put this on. The hardest part is this. So before you ever run any wires, make sure that this is the very first piece of this kit that you work on. That way you got room for all your wires and you don't have to fight with it. For me, I found it was easier to mount the bracket on without the container, put my wires on, then pull one nut at a time, one bolt at a time, and then just put the capture on. Like I said, I had to install a couple just washers, flat washers. You can see them there to give me the space I needed so that the capture unit did not hit up against this anywhere. So good luck. Make sure you got 2 hours and plenty of patience. Real fast, if I can get in there, you can see what I've done with the coolant hose And there's also a stainless hose in there. And I've just ran them behind the mount bolts on the mount plate. You can see the stainless line and the coolant line. What I'll probably end up doing is taking some wax or some heat shrink tape and put it on that bolt so that it's not rubbing on my coolant line. So there's a couple things you're going to run into on this project. Just got to keep an open mind, but this is how I did it. And as long as my ground set up with the two bolts basically acting, or the two nuts basically acting as spacers, as long as that works, I think this will be fine. I'm no electrician, so it's trial and error, but as long as that works, this is how mine will be set up. Good luck.